President Trump's approval rating has slipped for a couple of reasons, but one of the biggest would be his tariffs, which started a trade war. And that's rattling the markets and weighing down consumer confidence.
Truly going to be a catastrophic year. More than half of the folks that I know are talking about closing their doors.
Well, those fears of economic catastrophe will hopefully not come to pass, but they're based on history and the impact that tariffs can have on jobs and the cost of goods. Because a tariff is a tax that American businesses pay on stuff that they import from other nations. And as American companies pay those higher import taxes, they can absorb some of the costs, which can slow hiring and drive layoffs down the road. And they can pass on cost of higher import taxes to their customers by raising their prices.
Importer's going to pay more, my distributor's going to pay more, and they're going to pass those expenses on to me. And of course, we are going to have to pass some of that on to the consumer. It's just the way that it works. To stay in business, we have to.
Well, economists say high tariffs contributed to the Great Depression, and the lessons from it inspired the Reagan Revolution.
For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing.
Well, President Reagan said he came to Washington determined to spare America from the pain that he lived through.
Many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery.
Well, supporters of high tariffs say it'll drive up production within the United States. But as Reagan saw it, high tariffs reduce competition from other nations, and over time, that can make homegrown industries complacent and less productive.
They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets.
Meanwhile, other nations retaliate by raising tariffs on American-made goods, which again reduces competition.
So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying.
Which Reagan feared would inevitably lead to a shrinking economy.
Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs.
And that's why Republicans have tended to dislike tariffs for decades, and some still do.
Tariffs are a tax on consumers, and I'm not a fan of jacking up taxes on American consumers, so my hope is these tariffs are short-lived.
And it's why we're seeing a clash of opinion even from within Trump's circle.
Both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone.
Well, we don't know what'll happen next, and see, that alone can weigh down the job market because hiring managers do not like uncertainty. Hopefully, tariffs will pressure other nations like China to strike new trade deals that are more favorable to the United States, at which point Trump may lift the tariffs.
I think the tariff plan is doing very well. We're resetting the table.
But if the pressure does not deliver the results that Trump wants, we will see a growing impact with each passing month. There's a natural lag from the time in which tariffs are imposed to the point that we see effects on store shelves. Well, for one thing, companies rush to buy stuff and stock up to try to get ahead of the tariffs, so it'll take some time to draw down their inventories.
I think a lot of our vendors have a lot of product stateside already, and so it wouldn't necessarily affect it immediately.
Meanwhile, it also takes time for container ships to cross the Pacific, creating another lag in the effects within the supply chain. And we are already getting reports of 80 cargo ships canceling trips from Asia to our West Coast ports, and that nearly half of the shipments planned through May have been scrubbed.
There'll be only so many jobs to go around and a lot of guys looking for work. It's going to affect us all. So, it's our livelihood.
And reduced supply can raise prices on top of higher import taxes. And all of that's context for Amazon considering a line item breakdown in some of their items to show how tariffs are driving up prices. And it's the context for the pushback we saw from the White House.
This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
And the president's call to Jeff Bezos, who said it was just an idea and that Amazon will not do it.
Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly.
Up to this point, Trump has blamed our economic problems on the Biden administration, and he expects to spare us from the kind of pain that Reagan feared. But either way, as Republican Senator John Kennedy said, it is Trump's economy now.
Oh, I think it is. There's no question. I think once he decided to add the tariffs, clearly, I mean, he will be held responsible, as he should.
And we'll see the outcome in the coming weeks and months of money, power, and politics.